Drag Race Thailand is a really beautiful and special season that has set itself apart from all of the other mainline seasons, being the original international season, showing that Drag Race didn't have to be the cookie-cutter version of what RuPaul was always doing. It had a different theme song and a different workroom that didn't look like the mainline workroom. The stage was different, the judging panel was different, with the judges being right there with the queens on little stools, interacting with their drag as they were coming out onto the runway, providing sometimes very harsh feedback that was absolutely necessary for the growth, and really set this entire season apart from everything else that was ever going to come. Oh, sorry, we're talking about Season 3. Season 3 wasn't that. Hi, hello Drag Race fans, it is your least favorite Drag Race content creator, Jer. I am here talking about Drag Race Thailand Season 3. And so far I'm pretty disappointed by this season. It actually kind of tanked my mood for the week because I was looking forward to it so much. As I mentioned, previous seasons of Drag Race Thailand have been so spectacular. Drag Race Thailand Season 2 is in my top 3 favorite seasons of all time, right next to UK2 and Season 3. Those are the ones that really stand out to me. Love, the casts were so good and the judging was really good and the challenges were strong and the runways were fun. Everything about Drag Race Thailand Season 2 was so unique, and after 5 years, I was hoping that we were going to get that same brand new, different flavor of Drag Race that we don't get from anybody else. You look at all these other seasons, Canada and UK and Down Under and España, and each one has their own unique different flavor, but they're really neutered by the fact that they're trying to follow the rubric. And so it was exciting to me that Drag Race Thailand didn't do that. It was exciting that the judging was so different. And we've come back after 5 years to find out that the season's been colonized. And that is sad to me. As a Westerner who enjoys drag that is not California drag, that is not US drag, I want to see what makes that drag different, to see what drag is like in other regions, what they're going to filter through that unique Olympics of drag experience through what they do in their home bars, in their home area, in their location that is so different from everyone else. Now, when we get to Down Under in UK, because RuPaul is there, their presence neuters the entire series. The queens are not presenting the things they would normally do if a judge who knew their region was there. Seasons that I've seen, like Canada and España, that are not Ru judged, have this really unique flavor to them, but still are trying very hard to be RuPaul's Drag Race, with the hashtag Canada's Drag Race and the contestants' high-pitched voices, and then dropping down into a normal one and good luck and don't get up. Same exact cadence every single time. Everyone's trying to replicate Mother. And so I was really looking forward to Thailand not doing that, and then we, lo and behold, have come straight back to this homogenized version, this watered down version of what was a really spectacular series. And I want to make it clear that this has nothing to do with the queens, and my review of this season so far has nothing to do with these contestants, because I think they're all great. I think that the formula of changing everything to the generic RuPaul's Drag Race diminishes the diversity perspective that Drag Race Thailand had. Going to the contrived judges table where they're all taking notes and making quick digs or quick comments or quick jokes, rather than having a discussion and interacting with what they think about the contestant right there live, changes the authority of the show. And when we're getting 15 seasons a year, Drag Race is bloated to the point where I cannot keep up with people's names anymore. I don't know their faces. I'm having a really hard time staying present in some of these challenges because I saw that in this season, I saw that in this season, I saw that from that queen. That makeup reminds me of this person. And that's why Dragula remains so unique and special, because it is doing the drag competition series so fiercely different. And I don't want to keep droning on about how disappointed I was in Drag Race Thailand Season 3, but the production definitely got colonized to a point where it's, I think, just contributing to the bloat at this point and doesn't maintain its voice of what it used to be. And to say that saddens me is such an understatement. It devastates me a bit. And I promise this is not rage bait. This is not me trying to engagement farm. This is my genuine, true, honest opinion that I was very sad to see it happen. But let's talk about the actual episode in its entirety. Sriracha Hot Sauce is the very first contestant to walk in on season 3. I think they're bananas and I really enjoyed seeing them. Shotgun had my favorite look that I have ever seen ever come into a Drag Race workroom. That big mask with the matching makeup and everything being so symmetrically perfect was brilliant, and I've never seen anything like that. And that's what excites me about these international seasons, is getting to see stuff that we wouldn't see on a RuPaul season. And the very first mini challenge was actually really fun. It was to pose in a big cup of Thai tea, and they had 2 cute pit crew boys and they had 15 minutes to do whatever they wanted. I mean, overall, the production value of this was great. I love this photographer. I love the work that he does. We saw him a lot in season 2, so it was nice to see him again. Still in drag with the big tea fascinator and the cup that was sitting on the side. He's always serving, and I love to see him again. If I had to get into what I can only assume was probably dyed water, I very much doubt that was an entire giant prop cup of tea, I would have been furious if my drag got ruined and some of those people submerged themselves in, tights and all. I don't want to talk too much about each one of the individual performers because we'll get to that as the season moves on. I do want to say as an aside that Siam looks like if Tormai slayed. They even have the same color contacts and the same makeup style. Spicy Sunshine wins the first mini challenge. I thought that was deserved. Everyone did really, really good. And again, this photographer does great work, so nobody looked stupid in the photos that they showed us. Sometimes in Drag Race, they'll do the photographer challenge and then the photos are just awful. And you think, do you have any qualifications to take pictures anywhere? Come on. I could have done better with a Nokia phone, but these photos were great. And then it's announced that the Maxi Challenge is a talent show. And after everything that we had already experienced so far with the theme song changing and with the workroom changing, I was starting to get a little bit disappointed. And this is where I think my energy started to turn to the hard left. A talent show I think is really fun in seasons of Drag Race, but it is a little bit redundant because inevitably we get what happened here where we have 10 girls that are all singing and dancing and lip syncing, and we don't get talents. We don't get variety. And I know that these people can do stuff. And they gave them a lot of time to do their talent. There are so many talents out in the world, and Drag Race talent shows don't always capture that essence well. And the thing with drag in Thailand that I have noticed from following a lot of the season 2 girls is that Thai drag is kind of weird. It's very camp, it's very Wamana, it's very glam, but then they'll do something that is very different from what you would see anywhere else. Like there was one video that I remember watching of Srimala on her live a couple of weeks ago where she did a Mariah Carey look and then deep-throated a microphone for her entire 3-minute number. And there were a couple girls that were in the show that I was watching some of their stories, and they were doing weird drag too. And I love weird drag. I think it's great. It's the heart of drag. It goes back to John Waters and Divine recording their movies, and things are just a little uncanny and strange and bizarre, and why are you doing that? But I live. And a talent show can capture that. It can show some of that weird essence of drag. But because this is all being homogenized towards what we would normally see on a Drag Race season, I feel like Pangina and the judges were sort of filtering their perception of the show into what they think that Ru or Michelle might have liked. Now granted, some of the performances were boot nasty, but I would have loved if they had given feedback right then and there to each other. I didn't like that. I didn't get that. I thought that was bad. What even was that? How does that show who they are? There were plenty of opportunities to do that, but instead it was just the polite clapping and a Ru-ism. And the next contestant, you know, I will say though, Pangina's first runway ever was through the roof. Brooke was the runway girl before, but if Pangina keeps up this look trend, Brooke might get overthrown as the look queen of the hosts. I mean, already Nikki Doll is moving her way there, and I think has definitely surpassed Brooke, but I mean, Pangina just might go all the way up there. I really did love all of the screens that were on the main stage. I thought that adds a fresh element that we don't normally see. So I did enjoy that. Just a couple quick notes from the ones that stood out to me. Srirasha was so low energy for a belly dance. And when you're doing a belly dance, there's so much charisma that goes into that, and that none of that translated. You could tell they were afraid and that they were not comfortable doing it. I started to get bored after so many lip syncs and dance combos. But then Frankie Wonga came out in what was probably the weirdest Drag Race thing I have ever seen in my life, saying that she couldn't smell anything and maybe it was COVID, and then reveals dozens of noses all over her body. Everywhere you look, there's a nose, and then death dropping onto the poppers at the very end, and then suddenly being able to smell because the head rush released everything was insane. Siam gave Janie Jacquet a run for her money as worst talent shows of all time. Not only was it bad, but it was confusing, and also the outfit choice was rancid. We did get the best meme probably of all existence of Pangina and Art just looking at each other and very slowly clapping and not really sure what to do afterwards. Shotgun's showing was so odd and bizarre and had absolutely no payoff to it. If you're gonna run your time by doing a bunch of nonsense, there's gotta be funny jokes. And the laugh track that was in the background with the sound effects, it just was going too many places and none of them were good. And I think this talent show really just proved why Drag Race Thailand is not homogenous with the other seasons. And this talent show just did not capture anything that I wanted to see or that I was hoping to see from this group. My last standout was Karamite doing a performance where she's singing about a bird that's lost her eggs, but then she finds the egg and then cooks it and then gives it to her children, but then eats her little bird babies. It was so weird. It was so strange. It was exactly what I expect from Thai queens. And I think that she was able to really grab onto what makes drag in Thailand so special and different and funny and weird. And that's exactly what Frankie did too, which is why I liked both of them. Everybody else didn't really get to do that. And then the runway category was Worldwide Wet. I want to give a special shout out, but I don't think I can show it because I think YouTube will get mad of Srirasha's look. Doing a look was insanity, but I lived. Everything else was just... I will say that Siam killed it. The talent show was so strange because the entrance look was really good and then the runway was really good. So what happened in that middle? It had to have just been a throwaway look, I think. I do have to say too, on the element of runway and critiques, that it was strange to me that almost everything Pangina was saying was in English, and I didn't understand that move because Pangina does speak Thai. We heard her speak Thai several times, and when she couldn't think of the right words to say in English, she would drop into Thai to say them. And I don't think that's a problem all the time, but we're watching Drag Race Thailand. I want to hear the Thai. I want to hear the culture. You don't have to fit the rubric just because RuPaul speaks English on her show. I think Pangina might be trying too hard to solidify herself back into the Drag Race sphere after being out of it for such a long time and being a competitor on a season and not even winning. I imagine that that would probably create some feelings of maybe insecurity of not being quite up to snuff as some of the other hosts, especially when we've got really excellent judges like Supreme and Mama Pao. And Brooke is a fantastic judge. So maybe Pangina's trying really hard to just fit in with everybody else so that she's got more authority, but to me it almost diminished it. The winner of this challenge is Frankie Wonga, and I thought that was so deserved. They were so batshit crazy and probably one of my favorites, and easily my favorite of the evening. And our bottoms are Shotgun and Srirasha, who were the two that I remembered kind of the most from the intros. And Srirasha absolutely devoured this lip sync. Like, there was nothing left of that runway after she was done because she killed this. I was certain that she was going to be the only one saved, but Pangina surprised us that nobody's going home this week. And I can only imagine it's because it's an odd number of queens that maybe someone dropped last minute And so they decided to just hold on for one more episode and not let anybody go home. And then we get a chance to let somebody go the following week. And again, this is something that WoW has been doing a lot with their seasons, is nobody goes home on the first episode. We all get a participation prize. Part of me really likes that, but then on the other hand, I kind of want to see people just get knocked off. I'm hoping that next week, maybe there will be a little more return to form on things we've done in the past. The one thing that I want to see really improved upon is the sound quality. The amount of times where you could hear other people's mics layered on top of someone else while they were talking, or when a judge was speaking and you got a bunch of background noise with no audio cleanup. I can do audio cleanup on CapCut. If I can do that for free in my own home on my computer, a team of editors should certainly be able to cut out background noise or figure out a creative way to edit the show to remove that weird background noise that was happening. The amount of times that it sounded like someone's mic had cut off and someone else's mic was picking up their audio, so they just took that audio and spliced it in like a Frankenstein project. That was weird for me. And the one thing I'm seeing most online is people talking about the sound quality and how poor it was. One person on TikTok said today, wow, so did Drag Race Thailand really get renewed only to get canceled again? And I worry that it's not gonna come back for a 4th season if the rest of this season continues to be as low quality as this one. It's giving Drag Race Holland, and I don't want that for it. I want Drag Race Thailand to succeed. I want to see Thai drag. I want to see it celebrated. I want to see a lot of these contestants get to come in for a versus the world or a global when RuPaul is not judging it so that they can have a fair shot at making it to the end. I want to see Thai drag celebrated. And I just wish that this season could have done that. I have spent this entire time ragging on this season. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm gonna give it one more week and see how I feel next week. And I might just give up entirely on reviewing this season week by week if it continues to let me down. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.